The success of Grounded cannot be matched. It's now reached 3 million players in just 2 weeks since launch. That info was revealed by Marcus, the executive producer on Grounded 2. So that's great news to hear. That makes it much more successful than Grounded 1, especially when we take a look at PC Steam stats, which means people have actually bought the game rather than play it on Game Pass. But is that all the info we learned from the community stream? No, we've got a whole bunch more. Hello Ratbags, it's Jade. Let's go through everything you need to know about the community stream with teases about the next update, maybe temper your expectations about its size, and are returning bugs from Grounded 1 really going to be making appearances in the future? And guys, do me a favour, make sure you subscribe to hear the best in Grounded news first, gameplay guides and leaks. Let's go.
We, in less than 2 weeks, have already crossed 3 million players who joined us at Brook Hollow Park, which is, I'm getting like a little bit of goosebumps. Incredible, and all I can say is thank you all so much.
So yeah, that is absolutely massive news. You can see from the Steam charts just showing how much more popular Grounded 2 has been. Close to 50,000 people playing it at its peak at the same time, compared to only 32,000 at Grounded 1's high point, which I don't think was actually release or 1.0, but maybe one of the updates, like the first big ones like Hot and Hazy. So that puts firmly Grounded 2 as selling close to 1 million copies by the end of this month. If you go by various other games that have achieved that landmark selling 1 million copies, generally if you hit close to 50,000 peak players, that's the kind of numbers you're selling. Right now on the Xbox Game Pass charts as well, it's currently just outside at number 12. So bearing in mind it's been 2 weeks and has always got the big heavy hitters that just remain, it is still one of the highest placed newest games to release. In fact, I do think it's one of the newest and highest out there in the last month. So obviously popular on Game Pass, must be popular on the Xbox as well. Not that there was any danger given Grounded 1 reached 25 million players, and I don't even think that was fully including all of the PlayStation and Switch players too. Can't lie, that is great news, but they announced like this stream as if Marcus was going to have something big to share, and I figured maybe we get a little teaser of an update, or maybe news that Grounded 2 is going to be shown off. Maybe it's next update at Gamescom or PAX West, which are both fast approaching. But no, that was generally it in terms of that. They did go into more details though about stuff that's upcoming. And one to start with is that yes, lots of bugs from Grounded 1 are going to return in Grounded 2. That may not seem like such a surprise, but I know some of you guys have been a bit worried about some of your favourites maybe not appearing. Although Marcus did definitely confirm that Black Ops Beetles will be returning. I'm not going to mention some of the leaks that we've seen. If you've seen some of my thumbnails for videos recently, you've probably got the idea already. But I don't really feel like it's the biggest maybe reveal, but let's just say there's definitely more variants of ants coming, maybe in the near future. Marcus did say though, and we've heard this before in some of their interviews previously, that any bug that comes into the game from Grounded 1 is definitely going to have a bit of a sparkle and a re-up, maybe changing some little features or just certainly giving it maybe some different types of abilities. And I am going to go into that a bit deeper about certain variant of a bug later towards the end of this video. Honestly, I think that's good to hear. They're clearly adding new ones on the roadmap. That's not a spoiler. It has got a earwig listed. We know we're getting a tarantula via the roadmap as well, not just as a boss, but it does look like it's going to be roaming around, or a few of them like the wolf spider. But that leads us on to the next nugget of information. Basically, the Axel update isn't necessarily going to be as large as we thought. I have been speculating that they'll be working on the area pretty much close to the campfire, where we've seen they've started to add stuff like the woodpile and a few other areas. Like, why are they adding that in a small little bug fix update if it's not actually going to be part of the Axel update? But it does look like it's mostly just going to be Axel, and that's pretty much it. They've said this is going to be like the, I guess, the starter before the main course of the winter or fall update. That apparently is going to be the largest update, or the biggest one that we'd expect a ton of content in. Now, not to be maybe putting it down on it, the Axel update is still going to be pretty worth it, right? We're going to have another boss to fight, new armors, tier 3 and weapons, as well as new mutations and other recipes all associated with it. As said, I can't find any evidence that they're actually at PAX West, but I did hear from the devs that some of them would be at Gamescom, although they may be actually showing off the Outer Worlds 2 more so. But they did say they are going to have a few announcements about Grounded 2 coming up in the next 2 weeks, or in 2 weeks' time. I think that's when we're going to get the release window, at least for the next update, which I'm predicting to begin at the beginning of October. If we're lucky, it might be late September when they open up the public test branch, the test versions that you can play on the Xbox Insider Hub that we think they're going to do, or maybe on PC beta. It hasn't been confirmed yet whether they will be using them, but if they do, then maybe that'll happen then, and then the actual update for everyone will go live in probably the first week or so of October. Or maybe a bit more of a downer that actually, if they do PTBs, that will kickstart at the beginning of October, and it may end up being mid or end of October before we get the actual update. As again, I did hear that they would be having their first update 2 months after release. But then all subsequent updates, as we were told earlier, would happen every 4 to 5 months, which again means or hints that they probably will be using the PTBs. They'll come out every 5 months, and then the full update will come out a month later or a few weeks later. So that could mean the winter full update that's going to be adding a ton more might not actually be here till at best maybe February. But there is more good news with that we are going to see more details given on the roadmap. It's going to be updated as they go, and they're going to expand and give us a little bit more info. I suggested it to Eric before when we went over to LA, me, Power, Dinky, I'm Cade, and met the team. Be really cool if they use the Casually Grounded just a bit more often, and also do some maybe like weekly posts talking about maybe some of the new features coming if people want to find that info out, and only small bits, obviously nothing major spoilery. I mean, who am I kidding? I love spoilers and I'm going to carry on leaking stuff, but I'm trying to be more responsible and only leaking stuff when it's coming close. If you want to see far future leaks and stuff and speculation, make sure you come and join my Discord, as I've got a bunch of channels set up for it. Marcus did also answer more questions. Apparently they have cut out some lines where the kids were cursing. Again, we were kind of told or read through some of the journalist interviews that they had done that the kids would be saying like the word shit and stuff, but it looks like a lot of that got cut. Specifically Hoops waking up and going, oh shit. Apparently early gameplay testers said it just didn't feel right. Marcus spoke about maybe giving them a bit of a, bleep or sound of an aphid every time they swear. I love that idea. The rest of the Q&A though was very much like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. The possibilities are endless in early access, yada, 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 which means that, yeah, they're not denying it, they're not confirming it. They are just going, yeah, it's a good idea. But they did seem pretty impressed with the jukebox idea. So many of you guys want that. Also to be able to play older tracks. They seem pretty infused by that. Eric was championing it. And the usual questions popped up at things like PlayStation 5. Eric said they're not working on it currently at the moment, but it's more than likely, well, he didn't say that, but I'm saying it. He pretty much said that anything's possible. But yeah, Marcus did finish off with a note about lore, and he was kind of being cryptic about it. But he said he's seen a lot of our theories about the lore, but people maybe need to think further ahead. Currently, if you don't know, a lot of the big things point to the 15 being pretty much the mysterious or masked stranger. That's something a lot of people were agreeing on, even me reluctantly. But yeah, Marcus kind of hinted that maybe we need to think a little bit more about it. I think they had to do this stream pretty much only with Eric on his own for most of it, as Marcus was away, so he only joined for the last half hour. But it would be nice if they do go over the most common issues that things are being worked on at the moment, rather than just relying on some random questions they may or may not read. There is the community issue tracker, but so many people don't know this exists. So yeah, I want them to maybe have a little segment where they go over known issues that they think are going to be fixed in the next patch and stuff. A lot of things have been fixed though. You can clearly see all the green, that means it has gone live. So a lot of you guys with the orc problems where the bees weren't coming back down, that should all be fixed now for majority of players. If you couldn't find certain orc creatures to progress some of the transmitter issues and stuff, or killing them, you can actually problem solve that by just heading straight to the statue. And kind of crazy, it's one of the most biggest things I've seen from you guys complaining about is the amount of grass stems that are growing through foundations and stuff. Now this was a problem that plagued Grounded 1 for a long time. I don't know if they ever really fixed it. It's meant to be if you chop everything down, literally the stems as well, they shouldn't grow back as long as you've got a foundation or some sort of build piece on it. But that clearly hasn't obviously been working. There was only actually 5 reports listed on the issue tracker, but man, I've seen hundreds of you guys saying you want that fixed ASAP. But at least they know about it, and that's the important thing. So they know a lot about these issues, so hopefully read through some of this, guys. I'm not going to rattle it all off individually. It's pretty much a lot of the same stuff I've gone over before. Still problems with backpacks not necessarily being recalled correctly, or backpacks being out of bounds. Performance is always going to be part of their priorities to make sure it's all good. They also know about snail shells blocking anthills because people can't move them. I mean, you can move them, guys. You just got to use a buggy to push them out the way a little bit. Keep swinging at them with a club, and or try and put a bounce web underneath it to bounce it away. One that did catch my eye though was Buggy's inventory looking larger when you look at it in storage. And I was wondering this. There's been a few times now where I've gone to look at something and realised or thought the Buggy's inventory was actually smaller for some reason. And the big effect of that is explaining why some people are losing items when they're transferring from Buggies. They also know about the idea that if you've got a full inventory and you put away your weapon when you jump on a buggy, you may accidentally lose your weapon. Water drops stuck on grass, that's still a thing. Not being able to complete the mixer quest if you actually do the mixer event before it tells you to guard against the orcs. One has happened with me where I've got continuously my Omnant tool out and it just keeps swinging because maybe the inventory's full. Actually got me killed because a bee started attacking me, and I did do damage with the axe, but yeah, it obviously killed me because I couldn't block and didn't have time to get my inventory to sort things out. And I'm going to finish off with slightly more spoilerific stuff, so if you don't want to know about different variants of ants, then bye bye, and I'll see you ratbags for another video soon. So yeah, I'm maybe slightly disappointed. I figured we might get the black ant hill added to that area with the axle update and the wood pile. Shout out to Chillax on this one. He popped into my Discord with some of this data mine stuff, showing that black ants have also got a brand new ability. It's going to lower damage reduction to a max of 50%, increase damage on enemies and players after that. Now to me, that's pretty much like the termite attacks, right? That's what they do. Or was it the fire ant armor that actually lowered defense for us against creatures? But it's cool to see a screenshot showing something new with the green. And might explain why maybe termites aren't coming back. You guys have been telling me that certain types of ants do eat through wood. So maybe the black ants have actually taken over the wood pile and we aren't going to be facing termites. Instead it will be more black ants. Once we get the announcement in 2 weeks about, I'm guessing, the update for Grounded, I probably am going to go through more leaks to do with Axel. But yeah, really interesting stuff. It appeared when I checked out the black ants they were still tier 2. But a lot of the earlier stuff we found said they were tier 3. So yeah, mystery upon mystery. And there you go, ratbags. As always, I'll keep you up to date first with the biggest news, leaks, gameplay guides. Make sure you're subscribed, come join my Discord to see more of this, and I'll see you ratbags later.